What's up, amigos? I hope everyone is doing good today. In this video, I wanted to go over the best stat in Diablo 4 that every single class can benefit from, with the addition of the best glyph in the entire game that pairs pretty well together, I'd say. Now, this one stat can double, triple, even in some cases quadruple your damage output, and that stat is vulnerable damage. Now, what vulnerable infliction is once you inflict enemies with this debuff, they take 20% extra damage from you. And you'll know an enemy is afflicted with vulnerability if they have a purple health bar. Vulnerable affliction scales with other conditionals, so if you slow, stun, crowd control at all, if they're close, distant, etc., then after that initial calculation is done, it will then multiply by the percent of your vulnerable damage that you have active, which is how you see all these builds doing insane amounts of damage, because all of those conditional affixes stacking. Now, every single class in the entire game has the opportunity to mass inflict vulnerability. Once you reach level 50 plus and start progressing through your Paragon boards, there is a glyph in the game. This glyph is called Exploit. Now, what Exploit does initially is gives you 1.3% increased damage to vulnerable targets for every 5 strength that you allocate within the radius of that glyph. The crazy part about this glyph, though, is once you meet the attribute requirements, which is 25 strength, when you damage an enemy, it will become vulnerable for 3 seconds, which means if you AoE into a group of mobs, you mass inflict vulnerability. Now, this cannot happen more than once every 20 seconds per single enemy hit, meaning you can't keep applying vulnerability on the same targets, but if you have any sort of AoE at all with this glyph active, you will mass inflict vulnerability. Now, by stacking more vulnerable damage and pairing it with the Exploit glyph, this is just one way to start scaling your character all the way to the depths of Diablo 3. If you enjoyed this tip, hit that like button, it's greatly appreciated, and until next time, amigos, take care.